Hey everyone, welcome to Muse Themes. I'm Steve Harris, and today we're looking at Headliner 2. So if you don't know what Headliner is, Headliner was one of our best and kind of most popular widgets that we built long ago, and it's great for creating these animated, unique headlines like you see on screen. Unfortunately though, it had some challenges in responsive Muse, and we decided to rebuild it from the ground up, add some new functionality, and just make the whole thing better. That's why I'm introducing Headliner 2. So as you can see, of course, there are these animated headlines on screen, and we have a variety of different text effects that we can apply. So these are obviously animation effects, and some of them are kind of more of a single letter effect, like this typing effect. You can see it kind of erases or highlights and erases the word and types in a new one. Or of course, we have different kind of scaling and zooming ones. So lots of different options for you to use this on your site. Setup for Headliner 2 is relatively simple and similar to the first. However, there are some finer points that I'm going to cover in this video. So let's get started in Muse. So I'm here on a blank Muse canvas. Of course, the first thing we do with our widgets is drag it out onto the page. And in terms of the panel on this widget, we have a couple of important settings on the top. These are selecting your animation type, the animation delay, the alignment of your text. But below that, we have the actual headline setup. And if I open up that option, you can see that it uses paragraph styles. So I'll set this up from scratch here in a moment, but the third, fourth, and fifth kind of options on this or categories on this panel are specific effect settings. So this setting only applies to the typing effect right here. And you can see if I open those up, whoops, that's the wrong one. If I open the typing option, that these are effect settings specific to typing. So things like the speed and the color of the selected text. So that's what these boxes are for. So without doing anything else here, let's go ahead and set up a kind of demo of Headliner 2, and I'll show you how this works. So firstly, I'm going to move the widget out of the way because I don't really need to do anything with it. So let's just draw a text box, and let's create what we did in the demo. So we love Adobe, and let me size this text up a little bigger. I'll select a font for it, maybe Proxima Nova. And I'm just going to tighten up the frame of this text so it's nice and tight to the left there. This is maybe a little bit big. Let me shrink this down to 60. Okay, perfect. So the next thing I'll do is let's create the alternative animation text that we want to show. So I'm actually just going to copy and paste this box. So I'm going to do that 3 times. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there we go. So now before I create any styles, I'm going to actually kind of style up this text. I mean, before I create any paragraph styles. So this one, of course, will be Muse. We'll do Photoshop, and we'll do Illustrator, just like that. Let's apply different text styles here. So maybe we'll go Proxima Black on it, and I'm going to set a different color. Let's go with kind of green for Muse, since it's always green. We'll make this one black as well. And for Photoshop, let's select, I think it's blue. That's kind of bluey purple, but close enough. And then we'll go Proxima Nova Black on the last one. And for Illustrator, I think it uses kind of more of an orange like that. So there we go. So now that we have the text all set up, we can apply our paragraph styles to it and add them into the widget. So let me just move the widget back up here and I'll show you what I mean there. So underneath the headline setup option, we can enable up to 10 different ones. So let's enable 3. And then it says what are the paragraph styles that we've defined for each of those text options. So let's go ahead and apply those paragraph styles now. So if I click on the first text box there, I'm going to open up the paragraph styles panel and create a brand new style. And let's just call this headline 1, just like that. We'll do the same on the second, headline 2. And again on the third. Now the reason that I set up, whoops, that one should be headline 3. Now the reason that I set up, or I did all the styling on the text first before I applied the paragraph styles, is because sometimes it's hard to confirm that text has a specific style applied without being what's called overridden. So right now, if I was to make a slight change to this third option, headline 3, let's say change the color of it just slightly. You'll notice in the paragraph styles panel that now it says there is an override applied, and it shows that little plus sign. You cannot use this widget if you have overrides applied. So either you need to right click on this and go redefine style, which will apply the override. There's also a button down here to apply it to the style, or you can clear the override to go back to what you originally had in style. So now that we have these three styles set up within my widget panel, let's open up the headline setup area, and we just need to enter those headlines in. So headline 1, headline 2, and headline 3. Perfect. Okay, so those are good. So we can actually kind of move these out of the way. This text placement doesn't matter. What does matter is where you put the widget box itself. That's actually where the animated text is going to show up. And in this case, or in all cases rather, the best place to start is to align it to the top of the text box itself. So I like to align these two to the top. You can see if I highlight them both. And then I also like to size this box to be approximately the size of our headline text frames as well, just so that they have room to work in there. So these two appear to be aligned. Let's preview this in the browser and see how it looks. So as you can see, everything looks to be working well. I may tighten up this gap in between the two, and this widget may need some fine tuning in where you place it. But if you preview it in the browser, it's easy enough to do, and it should only take a couple times. So everything looks like it's working really well. So let's have a look at some of the specific panel settings in there. Oops, let me move that back into place, and I'll just do it there. So of course we have animation type. Let's go back to flip. We have a delay. So the delay is just adding a delay before the next animation of text comes up. So if you'd like a headline to appear on screen for a little bit longer, you can set a longer delay. Now we have the text alignment. So that's going to be the text alignment within the frame here. It does not matter what you set manually in Muse. So if I go to this block and set it to centered, that's not going to do anything. You need to set the text alignment settings directly in our panel. So we could change them to left, center, and right. And then we can enable looping, and that just controls whether we want the animations to play through once and stop or keep going again and again. Another new feature that we added to Headliner 2 this time is the ability to add links into this text. So if I click on Muse here and I go up to the Hyperlinks panel, I could add a link to this text. So let's go MuseThemes.com, just like that. So now the text is linked, but you can see that the style has changed, and text hyperlink styles are going to come into play. So the way to change this is to click onto the hyperlinks dropdown, go to Edit Link Styles, and you'll need to change your style within this box. So let's say we wanted our normal style to be this green color, and our hover style to be maybe a little bit of a lighter green, and we'll click OK there. So now we've actually controlled our hyperlink style on here, and let's preview it in the browser. First, I'm going to check the animation setting. Okay, that looks good. And now you can see when Muse comes up, you can actually click on it. I've still got an odd hyperlink style in there. Let me go back into there and finish that off. You can see that because I visited that page, it's actually kind of a purple color. So we'll change this all to green like that and click OK. And now we should be good to go. There, so our text seems to be linking appropriately. So an interesting thing to note though with the hyperlinks is if you select a text effect that controls single letters loading in, so for example typing where it has single letters at a time, the hyperlink is not going to work. And the reason for that is we can't link up each letter as it comes on screen. It'd be a nightmare for users to click on, and it just wasn't possible. So if you're going to use hyperlinks in your headlines, you need to use a text effect that animates the entire word at one time. The last point I'll touch on here is with responsiveness. Headliner will work just like any other text in responsive Muse. It may wrap at a breakpoint, it may not fit at a certain breakpoint, so you may need to apply kind of different settings and scale the text down for that breakpoint. But for the most part, works perfectly, works just like every other block of text will work in Muse. One last tip for you as well. Headliner was designed for headlines, so we do not recommend using big, long blocks of text within. If you do have a big word or one word that's bigger than most, for example here Photoshop is a little bigger than the others, if at all possible, we recommend you have that be the first word in your list, and also to scale this kind of bounding box on the widget to match approximately the size of the box on your text. The reason we like the big long word to be first is that when Muse loads, it kind of loads that frame based on word 1 and then tries to fit all the other words within that frame. So if your longest word is going to be the first frame, you should have no problems with fitting or wrapping or anything like that. So that's an overview of our Headliner 2 widget. Everything seems to be working really well. Super easy to set up. Lots of great uses for this, and we can't wait to see what you do with it. Thanks again for watching, and let us know if you have any questions. Cheers.